Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Collar Beer Gentleman. If you're returning, welcome back. If this is your first time here, I welcome you. This is a channel upon which I like to drink and review craft beers, but I don't like to spend a whole lot of money doing so. So the beers that I bring on this channel usually come in around the $2 price range. And today's beer is no exception. I paid $1.79 for this 12-ounce bottle of Samuel Adams Cold Snap White Ale with Spices. And just a few notes from the brewer about this beer. Um, the malt used was the Sam Adams two-row pale malt blend and malted wheat, and the hops they used were Hallertau, Mittelfrüh, Noble hops. So there's the ins and outs on that. Quick notes from the rest of the reviewing community. Six of my friends on Untappd gave this a cumulative score of 3.32. Very lukewarm, huh? So far, 217,000 of us have reviewed it and given it a 3.47 on Untappd. Not great. And Beer Advocate has had 2,401 rankings, giving it a 79, which on their scale is okay. So there you have it. Right now, Beer Advocate is using a 100-point scale. They were using a 5-point scale. Yeah, anyway. It's 79 now, and it's as I says, it's listed as okay. Sam Adams is one of those breweries I like to refer to as successful, not corporate. In fact, I gotta say, Sam Adams is largely what got me into the whole craft beer scene. I did have a local brewery of Boulevard Brewing, if you're familiar with them. Growing up in Kansas City, Boulevard was the pretty much the standard, but that was more out of matter of local pride as opposed to necessarily drinking craft beer. However, I came to enjoy craft beers through them and through Sam Adams, so I'm always I'm always going to drink Sam Adams beers right to my dying day. And they're not corporate. They're far from it, in fact, because um, Jim Cook gives or Jim Koch rather he actually gives scholarships to independent brewers and small brewers. He helps out small brewers, so even though it's widely distributed, you can find it just about anywhere. Sam Adams is not corporate, and Boston Brewing Company is not corporate beer. So down off of soapbox. Quick notes about the white ale. The white ale is a 400-year-old style that died out in the 1950s, but it was revived by Pierre Celis at Hoegaarden. Looking up at BJCP, if you're not familiar with BJCP, that is Beer Judging Certification Program, and it has an app that's available for your phone. Describes a wit beer as having malty aroma with spice notes, some on the tongue, with low bready wheat flavor, low bitterness with balance similar to Weiss beer, but with more spice and citrus character. I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of wit beers. Very, very rarely do I actually find one that I like. And finding out that this has such lukewarm reviews from the reviewing community. Why I keep wanting saying brewing, I don't know. But amongst the reviewing community, actually kind of gives me a glimmer of hope because I'm thinking maybe it's possible that people didn't like it because it wasn't true to form. So frankly, the less true to form the beer is, or what the wit beer is, the happier I am. Going to be using my Venezia bottle opener. My man Tony brought this back from Venice for me. And going to be cracking this open. Kelly, if you're watching this is another bottle cap coming your way if I can get this bad boy off without doing too much deformation. One more thing I'm going to point out on here is the independent label here. See that, gang? See that right there, how it says independent on it? When you see that, you know you're drinking an independent beer. You're not drinking a corporate beer. So as I say, corporate not successful, not corporate. Going to be using my wet beer glass. And let's see how this bad boy pours. Oh, this is it's a little more yellowy than I'm used to a wit beer being. Usually wit beers come in a little more white. There is some argument as to whether wit refers to the wheat or the white. Apparently in High German, wit can mean white or wheat, and in Low German, wit is specifically referring to the color white. So it all depends upon from which part of the world you're speaking, because hell, there's even a Texas German amongst some of the German communities down in Texas. So language is adaptable, that's for sure. Okay, gonna give this a quick beard wipe. I smell those citrus notes, that's for sure, and I smell the spices. Gonna stick my schnoz directly in, see what else I can come up with. Oh, malty, very, very malty. And I smell that wheat. You can really smell that wheat, the pale wheat that they used for this. Smell a little bit of the spices, but I gotta say the spices are kind of subdued. Guys, what you're seeing on that camera is about at least two, maybe even three shades darker than the beer itself. This is very effervescent, and I'm a swirler of beer, and this head ain't going nowhere. So this is a very resilient head. I'm gonna quit yapping my flap and get to drinking. Cheers. I'm gonna describe that as a medium-low mouthfeel. Just a little bit of spikiness, but not a whole lot. Really no alcohol burn. Mostly what I'm tasting is the citrus, and I'm not really tasting a whole lot of the wheat or the malt. I mean, I am tasting some, but I got to say that the predominant flavor is the orange peel, the cardamom, the spicy profile is coming through more on the tongue. Although, as I said, there's not really much of a mouthfeel, so it's not spiky, but definitely the flavor is more centered around the additives, I would say, than the beer itself. And I'm kind of getting why it maybe it got such lukewarm uh, reviews from the reviewing community. Gotta say that's some stellar lacing though. I mean, look at that. That is really, really nice lacing. If I can get, there we go. That's with it without the glare of the sun coming through. But yeah, very nice lacing. Resilient head. I forgot to mention that this has a 5.3 ABV. Typically, wit beers come in between 4.5 and 5.5 in the ABV. Also has 10 IBUs. Typically, wit beers come in between 8 and 20 IBUs. So this is on the low end of IBUs and the higher end of the ABV scale, typically for the variety. I'm gonna finish this bad boy off. And hmm, well, it's okay. I don't dislike it as much as I do most other wit beers. I think I'm starting to develop a tongue for them, though. I have to say, after having a few more wit beers, I'm kind of getting around to them. This one is just okay. So I'm going to give it a 3.25 on Untapped. I think that's about right. It seems like a good score for that. It doesn't get the extra 0.25 for being in a can. Those of you who watch this channel with any regularity know that I will always give a beer an extra 0.25 for coming in a can. Cans are hashtag cans are better. So, yeah, I don't know, 3.25. $1.79 though, you can't hardly go wrong. And since the beer was called Cold Snap and we're coming up on November, I just felt like I had to do this beer at this particular time. All in all, not a bad beer, but I'm just going to say that there are better wit beers out there, and there are better Sam Adams beers. So check out one of those instead of the Cold Snap. All right, guys, until next time, drink good beer and don't break the bank doing it. Cheers.